Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my rant on the 1997 film Funny Games. Now, before I go ballistic on this film that I fucking hated with pretty much every fiber of my fucking being, I want to give a special shout out to Seth for requesting this review. If there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to my PayPal. The link will be in the video description down below. Now, let's get to the roast of Funny Games. I know this film has its fans. This film has a lot of praise. I mean, it has a 7 point something out of 10 on IMDb. There are a lot of people talking about how brilliant it is and how it's underrated and how it's a really great film in terms of how it subverts expectations and plays with the genre. And that's fine. If you love this film, that's great. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Different opinions are what keeps this world interesting, and I've said that many, many times, and I will continue to say it because it's true. That being said, I thought this film fucking sucked. This film was so boring, so pedestrian, so full of itself. It was absolutely annoying to levels that I haven't seen in a long, long time. I hate films like this that think they're smarter than you, think that they're so fucking clever. I hate smug, pretentious fucking writers and filmmakers like Michael Haneke who think that they're some auteur, but in reality they stink like shit and they're full of shit. Speaking of Michael Haneke, the direction isn't even that great. The direction in this film is nothing special. I've seen direction of this caliber in a million other fucking movies. Whether it's an Austrian filmmaker or it's somebody in the United States. I mean, I've seen better directing and more ambitious directing in an episode of a fucking sitcom or a TV show than what's on display here. There was nothing impressive about this directing. From a visual standpoint, from a cinematography standpoint, from the way that he set up his shots, from the way that he moved the camera. Things were so painfully static most of the time that the film had no energy, no life to it. It made a boring film even more dull to sit through because the direction is just as lifeless as pretty much everything else. Not impressed in the slightest. I've seen student films for film class that were more ambitious, took more risks, and actually had better directing or directing that was on par with the direction in this film. Nothing remotely impressive at all about this direction. And then you get to the writing by Michael Haneke. I don't care if I'm butchering his last name because this guy butchers screenwriting. He does everything that you are taught not to do as a screenwriter. You are supposed to create a compelling narrative. You're supposed to keep the audience engaged. You are supposed to do these things and then throw in some subtext, throw in some social commentary. But instead, he makes the entire fucking story mainly nothing but subtext. And for some people, that's amazing. They eat it up, they love it. Because they are the kind of people who don't view cinema as anything other than what they have been taught by their film scholars and film school and film studies teachers over the years. That if a film doesn't say something about society, that it's not important. And if it does that, and it does it adequately enough and does it in a way that's somewhat unique, then it's a really good film. Then it's a brilliant piece of art. I'm sorry. To me, that is such a bullshit statement. And subtext itself is overrated. Just like this film is. I need more than subtext. I need a connection. Whether it's characters that I hate, but I enjoy watching them be despicable and insane and unruly and awful people. Or it's characters that I can relate to or connect with in another way. It's people that I root for. This film has no one like that. The family that gets kidnapped and tortured, I don't like them. I don't care about them. I don't care what happens to them because they are written in ways that are incredibly thin. And then on top of that, they are just stupid. They are total fucking morons. And for a film that's just supposedly so clever, and a writer, and Michael Haneke who's so above everyone else, you sure as hell wrote some stupid fucking characters, man. For instance, this entire film could have been over with in 5 seconds. When that happens, you fucked up as a writer. You didn't make a great script. You fucked up. What do I mean? If the wife in this film didn't let a random guy she doesn't know, has never had any connection with, never seen before, into her home, none of this would have ever happened. And I love how the director makes this whole film about this big scathing criticism about audiences who want violent films and how they're the problem and they perpetuate a cycle of violence by making a violent movie, but then on top of that trying to act like, oh, you think the only way out of the situation is violence. Well, you're wrong. And I'm like, no, there was a non-violent way to stop all of this from happening, like 5 minutes into the goddamn movie. Don't pull that shit with me. So, just don't let him in. Simple as that. But nope, lets him in. Things predictably go off the rails, go haywire. One of the invaders hits the husband in the knee with a golf club, and the wife just stands there like a fucking dipshit, doesn't grab another golf club and fight for her husband and her kid. Nah, nope. Just stands there like a scared little puppy, doesn't do shit. And then later on, she takes this fucking guy with her to go meet some of her colleagues. She's in front of a fucking lake. She's got these 3 people that are right there. She can just say, hey, this guy is a fucking psycho. He attacked my husband with a golf club. Let's get him. He's outnumbered at that moment, 4-1. He stands no fucking chance, and he doesn't even have the golf club at that point. He's unarmed. No, she does nothing. She just stands there with her thumb up her fucking ass and her head up her cooch and does nothing whatsoever. Could have shoved his ass into the lake. Could have done anything. Nope. But that's the point, because it's set up that way to make you think and to make you, the audience, think about violent ways to stop things from happening. Think about a violent solution. See, the writer played you. You are doing exactly what he expected you to do. Fuck off with that pretentious trash. That garbage. No. When you deal with violent people who torture and fuck with other people, you can't stop them by giving them a lecture. You can't stop them by talking your way out of it. You can't stop them by doing nothing. I'm sorry. In life, there are many instances where you have to be violent to survive. And having that mindset is not wrong. I don't care what the writer and director thinks. It's not wrong. Because I guarantee if this writer was in the same situation with his family, he would do whatever it fucking takes to defend his family, save his own life, and save the life of his loved ones. I do not buy for one fucking second he would try to come up with some non-violent fucking way to do it. Bullshit. You know that you would fucking do the same thing. You know that you would be thinking about scenarios where you could save your family's life, just like I did while watching your piece of shit movie. So, yeah, you have this moment where she easily could have fucking overpowered the guy. Nope, doesn't do it. What a fucking moron. Then you have the kid who is asked by his, the other, chuckle fuck in the group, because there's two people who invade the home. So you have this other chuckle fuck, and he's also a guy who just likes to stuff his fat face all the time. So we asked the kid to go get him something from the kitchen, and he's like, "Don't do anything. Don't get a knife or you'll be sorry." Like, what is he gonna do? He's standing there in a doorway with a golf club, just looking out the goddamn window. He's got a golf club. Even a kid could overpower. Even a kid could take a knife and stab his ass. I'm sorry. All he has is a golf club. He doesn't have a gun. Golf clubs take a long ass time to wind up and swing and do anything with, and they're pretty heavy. The kid could get a fucking banana, give this fucking chuckle fuck the banana, and while he's stuffing his fat face with the banana, stab his ass. You don't even have a moment where the kid tries to do that and he one-ups the kid and stops him. No, the kid just willingly goes and gets something from the kitchen and gives it to this guy. After this guy and his friend bashed his dad in the knee with a fucking golf club. So this film is just really stupid. It's trying to be so clever and so above everyone else when it comes to its mentality and the subtext and all this other pretentious shit. And it's stupid. It's dumber than a box of fucking rocks. And as a result, it makes the film just worthless. And it's supposed to be pointless anyway, so it just makes it even more pointless and incredibly hard to sit through because there's no one to root for. None of these characters really have anything about them that you really resonate with. The villains aren't even interesting. I'm sorry, they're boring. They're just as boring as their white fucking shirts that they wear and their white gloves. They're just as boring and plain. The only thing that kind of makes them potentially interesting has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the story and the screenplay. The moments where they break the fourth wall. And even then, it's not even really that clever. He turns to the camera one time and winks at the audience. Okay. There are other moments where the guy will turn to the camera and say, like, "Oh, what do you think? Do you think that they're gonna make it out alive?" It's like, shut the fuck up. Why do you give a fuck what I think anyway? I don't care what you think to begin with, so why the fuck are you talking to me about this shit? Oh, because it's playing with you. It's playing the game. Yeah, it's a game that I am already tired of. That I don't want to play anymore. And then you get stuff like where they rewind the film after the wife fights back and shoots one of the guys, and then it's like, oh no, you can't win that way. And then even by the end of the film, they get away with it. They kill everybody, and then they are essentially gonna start another killing spree. But they do it in the same stupid fucking way as they did in the first half of the film. And this script is so brilliant and so smart. And there are people saying that this is one of the most realistic home invasion movies. Yeah, really? That it's so realistic that not only will one family let a total fucking stranger into their house because he says, "I need to borrow some eggs," but two? The logic. The logic is just mind-bending. It's just crazy. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, this script sucks. All kinds of cock and balls. Oh my god. There are other scenes too that just go nowhere. Like there's a whole scene where they're trying to fuck around with the cellular phone and dry it out with a hair dryer because it got wet earlier, and trying to make a phone call, and it predictably leads to nowhere. You know what you could do? You could get in the goddamn car and get out of there. How about that? Instead of just standing there trying to fuck around with a phone that you know isn't going to work properly because it was stuck in a goddamn sink and it was dead earlier because it was soaked. And what's even stupider about the script, because there's even a line of dialogue where these characters are like, I don't know the number to the police. You don't know the number to the police? What? What's the number for the police? call call your friend. Call the relatives. Ask them to call the police. You can't even make this shit up. I mean, come on. It's so fucking stupid. But because the killers won in the end, and because it talked down to you, and it had some moments where it broke the fourth wall, and it brought up some subtext about violence in cinema and desensitization. It's great. It's great writing. It's great filmmaking. It's brilliant. No, that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Films are not essays. I don't care who told you, who taught you that they are. They are not. Because films, in a lot of different ways, at their core, are moving pictures based on the concept of a story, of the written word. No one is going to give a story a pass if it doesn't have elements that it needs to work as a successful story. So why does this film get a pass? Why do people praise this film? Why do people say that it's a brilliant masterpiece just because it has subtext and pretty much nothing else? It's just crazy to me. Even crazier than the sick fucks in the film. So I will stop ranting for a moment and give some credit, some kudos to the cast. It's not their fault. I don't think it's their fault at all. In fact, I think the performers, they did a good job. Susanne Lothar as Anna, Ulrich Mühe as George, Stefan Clapczynski as Georgie, Arno Frisch as Paul, Frank Giering as Peter. The performances were good. But they can't save a shitty script that's full of stupid writing and characterization and moments of try-hard, pretentious bullshit. Characters pontificating about black holes. Like, what the fuck? And other shit that just goes nowhere fast. I don't care how many times you break the fourth wall. I don't care how many times you preach to me about violence in cinema and how people who want more violence and want all these violent acts in films perpetuate a cycle of violence in real life. I don't care how many times you do it. If you don't do it in an interesting way, if you don't do it in a way that compels me or engages me, then I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. And that was my feeling and experience throughout the entire movie. I got nothing from this film instead other than frustration and anger. This is one of the most upsetting and frustrating cinematic experiences I have ever had in my life. And I know people will say that's the point. To me, that's a pretty shitty point. Oh, you pissed me off? It's nothing novel. But it is pretty novel and pretty unique that you did it in a way that I rarely have seen other filmmakers and writers do. So you know what? I'll give you some kudos for that. I'll give you a golf clap for making such ridiculous, stupid, ham-fisted, heavy-handed decisions when it comes to your writing. I'll give you that. But that's as far as I'm gonna go when it comes to giving you an ounce of fucking credit. And the thing is, it could have had fun with this. It could have actually tried harder to play around with the conventions of this genre. But it doesn't. It only taps the fucking surface. It only dips its finger in the water and it thinks it's enough. It thinks it's brilliant. It's so smug and self-satisfied about that. I dipped my toe in the water. You didn't dip your toe in the water. Look at me. I dipped my toe in the water. And I'm like, so? Any fucking hack can dip their toe in the water when it comes to subverting expectations and throwing little bits of subtext here and there into a narrative. At the core of this film, it's still a generic, pedestrian, pedantic, fucking home invasion film. You take the fourth wall breaking away, you take the little bits of subtext, and that's all it fucking is. It's a shitty home invasion movie. That's boring as fuck. I mean, it isn't even solid when it comes to the other technical merits, like the cinematography by Jürgen Jürges, or the editing by Andreas Prochaska. It's just there. It's just as pedestrian as pretty much the rest of the movie is. And 109 minutes, it feels like 309 because there's no investment in anything. You don't care. If you don't find these villains captivating, then the film is torturous to sit through. Because it's trying to make them into something that is at least going to keep you guessing and keep you involved. But even the games that they play, even the sadistic, twisted games they play are boring. So even that isn't compelling or inventive or wild or crazy in any way. The violence, for the most part, is very subdued. It's shown off screen. And I know that's intentional because it's trying to be an anti-violence movie. I don't think you can make an anti-violence film, period, though, by being violent. It's an oxy-fucking-moron. You can't do that. It's like making a negative into another negative. It's pointless. Why are you doing this? Oh, I'm going to take a negative and I'm going to make it into another negative. Make it into a positive? No, I'm going to make it into another negative. Why? Because I can. Just like the whole explanation for why these two sick fucks in their white shirts and white gloves are even doing any of this shit. Because we can. That's why. Just like I can rail against this movie. Hey, oh, even my cat doesn't like this film. Even he's speaking up. See, he's had enough of this film's bullshit. He's ready to run for the hills. Pisses him off too. And the animals don't want to fucking deal with funny games and it's pretentious fucking crap anymore. And that's not even talking about the music. I mean, god damn. the song that the film uses in the opening credits and at the end of the film is just nails on a chalkboard. I know that's the intent, but it makes an already frustrating and annoying film even more aggravating to sit through, even more headache inducing with this. See, he's fucked up. And Olympus physically knocked this film off my bed. He was like, get this fucking shit out of here. You know what? I don't blame him. And I'm going to take his advice. And I'm going to get this pretentious, overrated, overhyped, piece of shit fucking film out of my face. Anyway, thank you for watching my epic rant on funny games. And once again, if you like the film, awesome, cool. But don't tell me it didn't get it. This film is incredibly simple and easy to get. Its subtext is spoon-fed to you. Don't give me this shit that I didn't get it. I got it. And it wasn't enough. Because I want compelling stories with compelling characters. And characters that are at least somewhat interesting. That aren't as boring to watch and to sit through as watching paint dry. So, thanks for watching. And as always, I'll see you later. See ya.